Hey everyone, I hope you're having a really good day. For those of you wondering why you're seeing the side of my face, that is where my webcam is located. So today we are going to cover a couple of different trade assistants. For those of you that haven't subscribed to this channel, you definitely want to. Now, the first one we're going to cover is the one I used for probably about a year and a half. Now, I have the old version of Magic Keys. I don't use these anymore. They're probably my least favorite out of all the EAs we're going to cover. So I'm going to cover two EAs, and then Brian's going to cover one, and then Nathan's going to cover one. So I actually switched over to MT5 and Trade Assistant 9.3. I find it's a little bit friendlier for SMC. Now, there is nothing wrong with Magic Keys themselves. The biggest issue I found with Magic Keys is when you market execute, you can't set custom stops. For example, you can have a 2 pip stop or a 3 pip stop, but you can't have like a 2.5 pip stop, whereas every other software lets you do that. Now, for those of you that execute on the larger time frame, not on the 1 minute or the seconds, Magic Keys are great. I personally am not a huge fan of them. But either way, we'll just go into it quick here. Oh, just before we get going too, I wanted to show you guys. You're probably going to have a lot of questions on installation and the frequently asked questions. If you go to their website, everything is there on installation. He's got a YouTube channel. He goes over a lot of this stuff on YouTube as well, frequently asked questions. Everything's there that you need. Now, the other one I'm going to cover, and this one I've never really used too much. I bought it. I just like Trade Assistant so much I never bothered with this one, but some members in our community use this, and it's better than Magic Keys in my opinion, and it'll do everything you need it to do. It's very simple. It's very similar to Trade Assistant, and it's very similar to the other EA Brian's going to cover. So, same thing with this one, how to install, frequently asked questions. It's pretty... They're pretty friendly. There's really not much to them. Now, before we get going here, I want to tell you one thing. You're going to want to create a demo account. You're going to want to get on a demo. You're going to want to play on a demo for a couple of days. You're going to make a lot of mistakes in the beginning. So the best thing to do is really not even go too much into the frequently asked questions, but just get it installed and go play with it. That is the best way you're going to learn. Now, one of the first things you're going to want to enable is auto trading, which is up here. You see the sad face on Magic Keys? You're going to want the happy face to appear. Now, from this happy face, this tells me everything's good. I can now execute stuff. Now, if we just go into, I believe it was in options, and you're going to want to go to Expert Advisors. You're going to want allow automated trading, allow DLL imports. That's all going to be enabled. If that's not enabled, you're going to have a lot of issues. It's not going to work. Now, with Magic Keys, you have a couple buttons here. Now, this is the newer version, not the one I have, but very similar. Most of these buttons are not necessary. You only ever really use a couple of them. But what we're going to basically look at is you have a function 1, function 2. My function 1 is buy. So on GBP USD, you'll probably want to buy with a minimum of a 3 pip stop and at least a 15 pip run. That's a guaranteed 5R. That's how I run GU. With EU, I'll run a 2 pip stop and a 10 pip run. Now, if you just go to Expert Advisors and Properties here, all your settings are in here. How much do you want to risk? Do you want to risk by balance or equity? Your max order size, your max lot size, and then pips and profit when SLs move to entry. Like these, it's very customizable. I don't use this stuff for the most part. What I use it for is the close custom button, which is 80%. Partial TP is 20%. I used to partial out at 4R and 20%. And it's got a few other options here that I did find useful. So FN1 for me is instant buy. FN2 is instant sell. you can set all your options in here. So RR on OpenCalc, you have a target at, I don't know if you can see it. I'll pull it up on the computer, but you have a target at 1-XX. So if you set this to 4 and you hit this button, it'll automatically tell you where 4R is. For example, if you want to partial out 20% and use that as your break even. Pretty straightforward. For the most part, every one of these EAs has very similar settings. This one, so this is one thing I do want to show. Let's see. So you can set how many trades a day you're willing to trade, how many losses you're willing to see, and what this EA will do is basically keep track of it on this little window for you and tell you how many trades you've won, you've lost, how many break-evens you got, and ultimately it'll tell you when you hit your 5 trades, but it will not prevent you from trading. You got to use your own willpower and common sense for that. Now, my favorite thing about this indicator is the pip counter. I haven't found a better one yet, so there is that going for it. You can edit all your colors and stuff. That's not really too important. There is one setting in here that I do want to show you guys. So this right here. So we're on GU right now. So if I put this to 15 and I put this to 3, so right now I have no buttons on the screen whatsoever. Now if I go ahead and hit the OpenCalc button, the OpenCalc button is going to put all my lines on the chart. Now if I want to go long, you're going to want the red line on the bottom. You're going to want the green line on the top. It'll tell you how far you're going, how much you'll make. One of the most important things to understand is if you are going to market execute without using the FN keys, you're going to want to get rid of this orange line, which you can get rid of with market pending. It comes and goes as you hit that. So if I market executed a buy right here, right now, this would literally just open the trade here and we go long. So if I hit the open trade button right now, that put us in a long. It put the stop down here. It automatically calculated the lot size, and it's automatically going to basically run the trade until it goes to target. Now, if I hit the target at however many RR, it moved my TP to 4R. Now, I don't use it like that. What I do use that button for is, for example, you want to take partials, so there is a partial TP button as well. Now the partial TP button will bring up a little menu like this. Let's say you want to partial out 20% at, I don't know, 15 pips. You're just going to set that. Now you can see partial TP set. Once it gets to that point, it will automatically partial out 20%. Now if I hit partial TP again, I can move this over here, and let's take 60% up here. It'll automatically do it. Now, one thing you got to remember is if you got a buy and a sell going, you cannot use the partial TP option because it confuses the EA. So you'll have to manually, let's say you're hedging a sell from up here and you got a buy going from up here. You have to take care of the partial TPs yourself. It gets confused. This EA won't do that. Now, one of my biggest problems with this EA is if I go down to the 1 minute, which is usually my execution time frame, if I hit OpenCalc right now, my lines are nowhere to be found. And this to me is absolutely annoying and pretty much a deal breaker for this EA. I gotta zoom out, I gotta find this line, I gotta drag it, and it's not a big deal on GU or EU because you're not going that many pips. But as soon as you start trading gold or NASDAQ or US 30, this line is going to be so far up, you're going to have to go on the 15-minute or the 1-hour time frame to even find your lines. And to me, that's annoying because the way these lines appear when I hit OpenCalc, they'll appear exactly how I have them set in the settings. So if I press FN1, my market execution right now, it'll basically run this many pips. So you can see the distance between this red line and this red line and this green line and the TP line are the same. So whatever I set in the settings, however far apart these lines appear, is how far your market execution will go. So if I set this to, let's say, 5.7 pips, if I hit instant buy, it would go 5.7 pips. If I hit instant sell, it would go 5.7 pips. Again, market pending if you want to put a limit in. So let's say we want to put a limit down here and we just want to buy here. At this point, you would just hit open trade and you have a limit sitting down here now. Now you can, there's the close full button, which is handy, close half, and close custom. These buttons are all handy. Every EA has something good about them and something you don't like about them. I think the software itself is great. My thing with it is I don't think it's designed too much for smart money concept traders that enter on the 1 minute or the 30-second or the 15-second. For this reason, it is my least favorite software. The other thing I really hate is this right here. You're trying to enter in a trade and you see all these numbers and sometimes they cover your wicks and you're trying to go 0.2 or 0.3 below and you got these annoying numbers in the way, which doesn't seem that bad, but now you're trying to put a limit in here and these numbers are in the way and I could not get rid of these numbers. That again for me is maybe I'm a bit fussy, I don't know, but I'm not a huge fan of these numbers. If you could get rid of them or put them on the other side, it'd be much better. Again, it's not a bad software. I do love the pip counter in this. It is definitely the best one I've found. So now if we move forward to, so let's just, we're just going to hit close full. That's going to close all the trades. So that closed everything. So we just have our limit left here at the bottom that you see. And what we want to do with that is if you don't want it, you just exit out. So that's pretty much all there is to this software. It's very easy to use. There's not much to it. There is one other thing I really dislike about it. And so you get these keys, but these keys actually won't work unless your button is clicked on MT4. So if you're on TradingView and the last thing you clicked on was TradingView and you hit Market Execute, this software will actually not execute a trade, which is a little bit annoying because sometimes I want to be on TradingView and be able to go from 15-second to 5-second. And if I got to be on the screen anyway, the keys aren't a whole lot of good. If you are going to go this route with the magic keys, I would suggest just getting the on-screen version. If you got to be on the screen anyway, these keys do you like no good whatsoever. So, again, like I said, this is my least favorite software out of the 4 we're going to show you. This one here is our ToolsFX software. It is much cleaner. It is super simple. It is pretty much like the other 2 softwares that the other coaches are going to show you guys. It's very simple to use. You can get it to follow price, or you can get it to, that's your buy stop. If I wanted to sell stop, I would just drag it down here. That's a sell stop. If I put it up here, that's a sell limit. If I do that again, buy stop, buy limit, and you would just hit the button and your limit's in. Very simple to use, very quick, way faster to market execute. What I like about it is I can just do something like this. Now, the reason the TP is changing, the risk reward is set to whatever. You can lock that so that doesn't change, and then you can just adjust your stop size. We'll just delete this. Now, if we just, let's see. So again, this will, that's a buy, that's a sell. You hit this button to execute. Now, this is my favorite feature about this particular software is the sell and buy and market execute button is over here. The one thing that this software is missing is it doesn't show the spread, which Trade Assistant does. But Trade Assistant doesn't execute on this button here. So you got to actually come over to your little Trade Assistant window, which Nathan will show you guys, and hit that. That's the only thing I don't like about that software. This one beats it for that. Now this one, ToolsFX got all the options you need. It's again the exact same thing. If we go to Expert Advisors, Properties, it'll do anything Magic Keys will do. Everything's the exact same. The settings are all the same. These softwares don't differ too much this way. This is probably the cleanest and the simplest software to use. If you want a little more options and something very similar, you're going to want to go to Trade Manager or whichever one Brian uses. I can't remember the name of it. I bought it, but I've never really tested it too much. But he'll go over that. Now, you can set partial TPs and stuff. One thing with this software is, let's just get rid of that. Bring that back. So if we just buy this right now, very simple. Risk. Hold on. What is our? Oh, our risk is really low. So let's go to 1%. Cool. So we're just going to buy this. Very simple. You're in the trade. Nothing to it. Now, there is so you can pick how many TPs you want. And this all depends what you have in the settings. You can change how much to partial out at each area. So just to show you guys an example, let's say we pick 3 TPs. And what this software will actually do is it'll take 3 positions that are the combined addition of these 3 positions will be 1%. And what it'll do is it'll just close each position at each one of these areas. So if we execute here, again, we got 1%. We'll just buy this. You guys can see at the bottom here, it automatically bought 3 positions. It'll close 1 out here, 1 here, and 1 here. And you can adjust these in the settings or manually as the trade's going. It's pretty simple to do. Trade Assistant will do the same thing. And the other software we have, which I can't remember the name of, Forex Trade Manager, that's the other one, InvestSoft. So that's the one Brian uses. He's going to go over it. But this one's a really good software. I like it. Like I said, I just chose to go with Trade Assistant. It's very similar to this. If you're going to choose between this and Magic Keys, I would definitely go with this software. It's better for market executions, and this is something Magic Keys will not let you do on the fly, is do something like that and then hit buy. The market executions buttons are either, and you cannot change them, so you're always executing with 2 pips or you're always executing with 3 pips. The other option you have is manually drag this line, which is not the end of the world either, and then you can just hit open trade. Again, like I said, I don't like these numbers. I think this is a messy software, and I do not like how these lines appear out of the window. You may like it. It may be for you. I think it's more for traders that execute on the 15-minute or the half hour. ToolsFX, I definitely give this software 2 thumbs up. Trade Assistant's really good. And the InvestSoft one Brian's going to go over is really good. They're all very similar. The Trade Assistant and the InvestSoft software actually come with a little window. So all your options are in the window. The settings are all the same on every Expert Advisor. There's really nothing better to do than, like I said, guys, open a demo, play with the settings. They're pretty straightforward. How much do you want to risk? What's the average risk to reward? Now, you can set all your TPs. You can set it. You can make these softwares automatically break you even, trail your stop loss. Like, they're pretty incredible. And the best way to learn all that is straight up open a demo and just go wreck your demo account so you can learn properly before you get on a real account. And this software here is the ToolsFX website. Like I said, this one's really good. InvestSoft's really good. Trade Assistant's really good. In my opinion, this is the cleanest and easiest to use out of all of them, the ToolsFX one. Like I said, Trade Assistant has a few more options that I like, but this, both these softwares will do anything you need it to do. This is my favorite thing, though. Like, I can change the stop that quick, and I can set this so it maintains the R's, or I can get rid of that so it doesn't change the R's and it just keeps the TP the same. They all do that too. They're very simple to use, guys. Without beating this too much over the head anymore, I'm going to leave it here, and I will let Brian and Nathan show you guys the other software. For the most part, the developers will tell you the basics, and you just got to go and press buttons. They're very simple to use. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later in another video.
Alright guys, so I'm going to give you my quick take on the trade manager that I use. It's called Trade Assistant for MT4. I bought this back in November time. I believe it was $50 for the year or $30 for 3 months. Now this Trade Assistant is probably one of the easiest and one of the best that I've ever used. I specifically went for this one because, like I said, I was looking for something easy, but I was looking for a trade manager that I was able to partial out at different levels. So I had different like TPs, like TP 1, 2, 3, and I was able to, to leave the house, come back and see my account in profit. This assistant has done a bunch for me. Now, there are loads of functions to this trade assistant, so we'll just go into it real quick, right? There's so many functions. This is the control panel basically, right? So basically in here you can see we have the spread, right? This is the floating spread, right? At the time you can see it's between 0.2 0.3 depending on volatility, and as you can see next to it is the commission. So that's how much money I'm going to pay based on my lot size. So basically so we'll go through it real quick. Here if I click on lines, as you can see right now the orders are moving with price, right? So as price moves, this is automatically moving with it. You can click on it and you can basically set it anywhere you want. So say you want to set it on that there candle, put your stop loss underneath it, and as you can see on the left, it's automatically calculating my lot size based on my risk. So I have a 0.5 risk in here. You can change it to whatever you want. Here on the left you can do hard TPs, not something I do at the moment because I use multiple TP levels, but this basically calculates everything for you on the spot, right? In here in settings I'm able to have TP 1, 2, 3. You can even have different stop loss settings too, which is super handy. So you can see here at TP 1 I have 25% off at, you can do it at different ORs, percentages, points, price, change in percentage. Super easy to use. So for me, I just stick these on areas that I feel the price may pull back at or have a reaction off, and it automatically takes those for me, because that was like the main reason why I bought this. You also have trading stop, so for anyone that's into like having a trading stop, this does the buzz for you. And also break even, so this will automatically set your trade to break even at a certain point level, and that I don't use those functions just yet, but I plan to maybe in the future. I think the trailing stop could come in handy, so I need to get my head around that one. So that's what I'm using it for at the moment. So down here you have market execution for buy, you got buy stops, buy limits, same with the sells. Those are super handy too, but something that I've used recently, as you guys know, right, I'm trading the seconds, the bloody 5 seconds, right, and that shit moves real quick. And there's a great function in here, right, which is the hotkeys. Now the hotkeys are very similar to the magic keys in that, right? So you can basically set different keys on your keyboard to execute trades. So for W I have open buy, and for S I have open sell. So if I'm on the 5 second chart and I need to execute, I can just whack that on and I'm in a trade. And I got all my TPs, everything set. Price is moving automatically, the order box is moving automatically with price. And yeah, so I'll actually just set a wee order here at the moment, right? So say we click buy now, say we execute this, right? Say we execute that. So basically you get this little control panel here of the current trade that it's in at the moment. And you can basically drag this. So this was my 25% at TP1. So I can literally drag this on top of that high, right? And the second price reaches that, it's taking 25% out of my trade, right? TP2 was like what, 75% or something random like that. You can stick that, you know what, price might react up here or some shit, whatever it is. Super easy, you know what I mean? It does everything for you, so you can literally like just go to the gym, come back home, and you'll have a shit ton of profit in your account, man. You can even write a little comment in here and say, you know what, don't forget to pay the rent, or you know, let's not like do too many trades today, I don't really know. You know, you can write notes, you can take a screenshot. There, I've taken a screenshot there, right? You can take a screenshot of it, your MT4 chart. You can set alerts. There's so much to this trade assistant. like I was saying, it's probably one of the most easiest ones I've ever used. In this control panel here in the live trade, you could literally just bring this to break even. So when you get into profit and you want to bring it to break even, say straight away, right? Maybe after your first 1 minute bots or something, right? Just click, bang, bring the trade to break even. It obviously won't bring it now because I'm not in profit. You can close percentages right now, like instantly close 50% to this. Say like, you know, some shit was coming in, there was news coming in, you're like, you know what, fuck, I gotta take 50% off the table, bang, close. Okay, closes 50% off it. You can even change the colors, because I know some of you love to change your colors on your chart. You know what, maybe you don't want to maybe you don't like these colors, maybe you want to change that to blue. You can change, there's so many things you can do with this, right? Even in the main settings of it itself, you can literally change this whole control panel. I think my girl sent me, I think she sent me one of these, let me see. I think she sent me one with her own style. Let me see, she did her own little style, so she did on her trade assistant. Well, I think she didn't do that one. I don't know where it is, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you can have different presets in there too. So if there's different presets that you want, different stop losses, whatever it is, you can literally just save after you've whacked in all your settings in this box, and you can save presets too. So, you know, and if you want to switch between MetaTraders, whether you're using, you know, a few different brokers and stuff, you can literally just save the file and then upload it into the other MetaTrader that you're using. Like I said, it's super, 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 super handy. I haven't gotten around to every single function in this yet. Like I said, all I'm doing is the TP levels, percentages of TP levels, market executions with the hotkeys, and that's really it for me at the moment. I'll just show you how the orders work as well. Let's go into that. So say I bang up the lines here, right? So there's the lines. Here's a stop loss. Let's draw our stop loss here at 6 pips. Say here 6 pips, whatever. We can place an order down here. Let's say an order down on this little candle. So just zoom into that a wee bit more. So we'll whack an order on that. So we'll just put that on top of that. You put your stop loss in there. Bang. This will stay the same all the time anyway. So risk 0.5%, calculate lots. You know what, might bring the wee stop loss down. You can see it's moving there. My commissions are moving, the lot size is moving. Bang. Just set an order. It feels good. So that's basically it. That is Trade Assistant. Super easy to use. If you guys have any questions on it that I might be able to answer, like I said, I haven't gone through the whole thing as of yet. But let me know if you have any trouble even installing it or whatever. Give me a shout. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. So yeah, see you guys in the next.
Hey, what's going on, Precision Markets community members? I want to do a video today on the trading panel that I happen to use, which is made by InvestSoft, or InvestSoft, I'm sorry. It's called InSoft Forex Trade Manager. They make one for MT4 and MT5. So they don't have anything for C Trader, but it's not largely a difference between the two. So I'm just going to cover a couple of different things and how the ways that I use it on my charts, and just some of the features and things they have, just so that you can answer. So it's important for you to have a expert advisor to be able to manage your risk, because especially with taking like one-in entries, you don't really have time to think about stop losses and think about what is the lot size using and the dollars amount that you're risking or percentage of your account risking. And so the process is automated by using an expert EA. And there's many of them out there that do these. I personally like this one. Don't see a reason why I'd ever leave and go to another expert advisor. So I'm going to show you just some of my workflow and things that are important for you to know. So first things first, right here, you're going to see a button that says auto trading. If that's not on, there's no reason why this expert advisor will work. So in MT5, it's called algo trading, and you're going to turn it on. On MT4, it says auto trading, and it has to be green. Another place that you'll find this same setting, if you go to tools and you go to options, you want to come in here and make sure that you allow automatic trading. That's the same as flipping this button here that turns on auto trading on and off. And you can set these other things, but like for instance, you can disable it whenever you change MT4 or MT5 accounts. You can set it to disable whenever you change your profile. Some people have like different chart windows or different indicators, depending on like if they trade different sessions or different times or something like that. So that's another way you can do that. Or you can disable if you change your chart time period. So like if you went from the 4 hour to the 15 minutes, you could be able to have it disable automatic trading. All those things are made specifically for you to be able to have just protection for your account so that it doesn't do things it's not supposed to do. But the most important thing you have to do is allow this DLL imports. Even though it says potentially dangerous, you have to do it in order for InvestSoft's be able trade manager to work for you. But definitely the auto allow DLL imports and automatic trading is important. Also, anytime when you set an EA over here, you see this little smiley face. If it's not green, smiling, like he has a frown like this, then there's something not enabled. So the other place that you have to turn on the settings is you have to come in here into the live trading and turn on allow live trading here. So if you don't do that and you don't allow DLL imports and don't have this turned on, the EA also won't work. So see, now the EA flashed and now it's a smiley face. So now that I can work. And if I turn this automatic trading off, it turns back into a frown. So that's how I know this thing's active. So those were the most important things that you need to do. So go into the actual EA settings, allow live trading, also allow DLL imports, and then also come over here in your tools and options, and then turn on automatic trading, allow DLL imports, and then you're good to go. So let's talk about features for the trade manager. There's 4 main panels on the right hand side that go through a couple different sets and settings and things that you can set. But then there's also the main panel. So let's talk about the main panel. One of the reasons why I like the main panel is because it allows for me to draw risk rewards. So if I click here, it'll show me a risk to reward. Let me zoom in because it's really small. But essentially, I just press the button. It's showing me, for instance, the take profit and where the take profit will be. And if I move this green line, that shows me my take profit. And then it'll show me my stop as well. So it can show me the distance of my stop. And also has a little small button here where I can press where I can swap it. So if I want to switch it from a sell to a buy, it does that too. The other thing I like about it is that if I press this button again, it erases those lines and those lines are gone. So the first thing is drawing the risk rewards, what I think is really cool. It allows me to visually see because I'm very visual. Another thing that it does is it has here the ability to connect with price. So if I click here and I do the risk reward tool, right now it's showing up all the way down there, and I'm actually going to flip it to make this a buy trade. But if I press this other button that's on the panel, it has adjusting to the lines, it'll adjust with price. So it'll move, stop, take profit, and all of those things. So this is one of my main features that I like to use, is having it adjust to the actual price. And so it helps me whenever a price is moving fast, especially as I'm waiting for my setup. I don't have to move the lines or adjust the lines, it just moves. The other thing it also does is it'll freeze stop loss and take profit lines. So even though, for instance, price is here, as price moves, it'll adjust this stop, it'll adjust the take profit as well. So right now, the only thing moving is the open. So these lines for the take profit and the stop loss are going to stay until price ends up pushing it down. It'll push it down just a little bit further as well. So that's another key feature that I love to use. The other thing is that if you come and set up your settings, which I'll show you later, you can use a fixed risk reward. So like, for instance, I like to look for, a 1 to 5 risk reward on my trades. And so as you notice, I pressed that button, it moved my take profit. Now, when you have combined the freezing of the lines and the risk reward tool, you'll notice that the take profit is growing, but you'll notice that the bottom of the stop loss is not moving. So this is very key for me, because what that means is that I'm able to ensure that as the trade opens and moves, it'll adjust my stop, only making my stop bigger or making it smaller, but it won't adjust the actual spot of my stop loss. And that's how I'm able to use it, to be able to say, okay, I have an entry zone. I know that I want to cover the high or the low and cover some spread. I can easily put my line where I want it to be. And as price adjusts, it'll adjust. And the only thing that will really move is my take profit. not the actual point of where my stop loss is. So it's very key. The last one is a button that I don't use, which it'll have one order, and if that order goes, it'll cancel the other orders. And so it's not something that I use normally. Then you have the button where you can be able to come in here to buy, and this will change to a sell if you flip it. So if I flip it here, boom, it's changed to sell. And the second button is always going to be your pending. Now, you don't have to use the freezing of the lines or the adjusting to price and risk reward. You could come in here and type in your stop loss. For instance, if you know like how many pips you want to use as your stop or how many pips you want to use as your take profit, you can go here and just type in the actual pips. And then you also have the ability to just type it in price as well. Now, here's where this real piece that it shines. So for instance, right now I have whatever is a 5% risk or considered right now. You have different calculations that you can do for lot size. So you can do none, and you can just type in the actual lots that you want to use. Don't recommend it. The second thing is you could have a cash amount. So say for instance, I just wanted to risk $1, and if I come in here, it'll know to adjust $1, it'll adjust the lots. And the thing is, as the stop continues to grow, then it'll adjust the size. It'll adjust the size of the lot sizes so that you're able to risk exactly the same amount. So even as the stop loss distance grows, you'll see lots either go up and down depending on your account size, and it'll automatically know exactly what you need to risk lots wise to make sure that when it hits this line, you're not losing that much money. Also, you can have it risk based upon the balance. So if I want to do like a 5% risk of the account size, it knows that it's 3 cents of this account. If I also want to do it based upon equity, it can do the same thing. So the cool thing is you have different ways that you can set the risk. When you do cash or risk balance or risk equity, it's going to automatically change the lot size. So you're just doing the risk in terms of percentage base. When you do cash amount, it's always going to be the exact same dollar amount. And so it will automatically adjust the lots for you. You don't have to do anything specific to adjust the risk percentage. So that's just some key things to keep in mind about some of the lot calculations that can be used. Then there's the comments where I just leave a comment for my trades. The cool thing is right from the panel, when trades are right in profit, I could go ahead and press this button to move the stop loss directly to break even. So if I see something, I just go over here and press the button. Now, let's say for instance, I'm going to go ahead and turn off some of these things. I'm going to move my order so that it's pending. Right here, we're going to put a pending order in. Okay. So my pending order, I think, is set. Oh yeah, perfect. So let me hide my lines. And so right here, you'll show it visually shows lines and shows your orders. So for instance, right here is my stop loss for the order. Here would be the entry, and then here would be the take profit. So you can see my order details. If I come in here, it can close all trades either that are in a loss or trades that are only in profit, or just delete all the trades at all. And it has the ability to delete all orders that you have pending at one time, or you can just delete limits or stops. So the cool thing is you can come in and easily from this panel and just close your profiting trades or just close your losing trades and then delete orders. So that's pretty much covers everything that's on the first half of this panel that I really like. Then I'm gonna go and jump down all the way to the bottom. So here's like some more like settings specifically. So right when I did the risk reward, it automatically did a 3.3. So if I come in here and type a 5.0, this would make sure that every time that I do an order, and if I have the risk reward set, it's always going to be a 1 to 5 risk reward. That's always set. So let me flip this thing around. I'm gonna make the stop, and so now it's already adjusted. So that's where you go in to set what is the risk reward to be. So if I set that to be 2.0, you'll notice how it just changed instantly and my take profit slimmed down. You also can set what is acceptable risk. So if you don't want to use more than, for instance, 1%, then that makes sure that anytime I do anything that's above, it won't allow me to submit the order. So it just goes ahead and blocks you. You can include the cost of commission. And one of the things I like about it is it tries to always estimate the cost. I know it's kind of hard to see because those lines are a little bit small, but over here it's telling me the dollar amount that I'm losing here and here, and I'll go ahead and add commission. Now, if you include your commission in your calculations, it is going to lower your lot size. And what you're going to find out is that your take profit's not going to hit the risk reward. So for me, I just use $0 per commission because I'm just going to eat the cost of commission. I don't want it to be over calculating. Then you have the ability to do partial closes. So for instance, if I wanted to set my partial close to be 25% here, then the button on the front is going to change to 25 and close 25%. If I wanted to set it, for instance, that my partial close was, for instance, 2 lots or 20 lots, then when I do the partial close, it's going to do partial close here. So that's where that button ends up being taken. Then you have the draw the line. I don't really use this, but essentially it just basically shows us where we're going to draw the line whenever. I always do it based on point and click. So wherever I click, that's where I want to draw the risk rewards. And it's always going to be at least 5 pips away from, by default, wherever price is. So you can change that. One of the things also that I like to use is the default lines for stops. So it's based on either pips or ATR. So my usual setup is just having it set to pips. So if I know, for instance, in my pairs, like spread on GU is 0.5 pips, I might do 1.5 pips so that, for instance, let's say I had a flip zone. Let me draw one out real quick. Let's say I had a flip zone like right here, right? And if price taps in, let's say that was my entry, then I'm always clicking right here at the top of my flip zone, which, I gotta turn this off. So usually I turn on the freezing the stop lines and then the risk reward. And then I go ahead, click here for where my entry is. I flip this because it's supposed to be a sell, and then I come back here to adjust price. Well, what you'll notice is that now my stop was clicked here. The 1.5 pips that I set on my settings covered the spread above the stop, and now price is adjusting to it. So that way, as soon as I see my candle, all I do is I come back here, press my button to sell, and boom, my trade would have been in profit. So just for the sake of showing you, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust this now. But let's say, for instance, after this candle, I would have entered a trade just like this. So I would have entered in here, my stop is covering over the high, and then price is going towards my take profit. So that's the beauty of having you first turn on the freeze the stop loss, then you keep the risk reward fixed, so it automatically gives me my risk to reward. And then you're always just knowing, okay, I'm going to cover a spread above my stop, but I'm not going to do anything for my target. And then you have over here just some other items that you can do, like you can change like the things that says stop here, and then it has the stop loss and pips, and then stop loss currency. So I can just change like how it's written. I don't really mess with this too much. It shows you for market orders and pending orders. I don't really mess with any of this, so it's something you can play in your free time. Then you have other settings that you can activate, like break even and trailing stops. So you can have your break even set, for instance, at a certain percentage to your profit, or when you get to maybe 3R, you want to move your trade to break even, or you can even do it in pips. So if you have a certain number of pips, you can set it. And then it has trailing stops. You can set up too, so you can set it for a certain percentage or certain pips. It doesn't do the R's function, and then you set how many pips do you want it to move every time. So for instance, you would say at 30 pips start trailing, I want you to trail a distance of 50 pips back, but I want it to move every time price moves up 1 pip. So you have simple settings for trailing stop and break even stop. Another thing that I think is pretty cool here is that, let's say for instance you have an order. So let me go ahead and put a pending order in. So all right, I got my pending sell in, and then if you come over here, this is a menu to be able to see all of your orders. So if I come here to this order, it's a sell limit. It has the open price, take profit, and the stop loss. Well, I have the ability to change the take profit in pips or price. I can change it also in pips or price, so I can close or modify portions of it. And then you also have the ability to do partial profits. So I can set like TP1 to take at 20%, take off 10%, or at another 40%, take off another 10%, or etc. Then you can also have it start closing out some of your trade as you take losses as well too. It has, every time you take a trade, a little menu that pops up over here. So it has the exact same settings. So here I can see the appearance of it. of the order. I can set up the partial loss closing. I can set up the partial profit closing. I can set up the trailing stop, the break-even stop. I can even adjust, for instance, the stop loss. So I'm gonna change that to 10, and then you'll notice that it just moved my stop to 10. So now I have a 10 pip stop on that order. So then you can even close part of it. So I can close 20 lots or 20% of it. I can delete the order. I can reverse it. So if I wanted to have it switch directions and say, flip it like this, I could do it like that too. I could even press this button here to move it to stop loss to break even, and it would move it at 0.1 pips. Or I can change the stop loss and take profit based upon pips and price. So you have it, every individual order has its own little menu item like this, but then you also have it here in this little menu where you can manage those. So that pretty much covers most of the ways that you can use the EA. If you go into the actual EA settings, if you come in here in the EA manager and click on inputs, you'll have different things. So for instance, like if you only want the stop loss settings on the current symbol, you can change the maximum lot that can be used, the magic number. You can even define how much slippage you're allowing for it. You can even let it automatically detect your commissions. I don't do it. Like I said, I turn it off. You can set the ATR that you want it to be set. You can set the locations for it and change the zoom. So if you want to make like the panel bigger, you could do that. So it'll be bigger whenever I turn it off. You can set the colors of these orders. So it allows you to do things like set the location. You can have it minimize the panel every time you put an order in, or you can have it hide the lines every time you put an order in. Determines where you want to put the order location. And then other things like font sizes. So I can change the font size of all this stuff that shows up here. So let me see, for instance, let me see if this works. I'm going to change this to 26. But it'll allow me to change, like, for instance, the opacity, the colors of these lines that show up in different spots as well, and then all of that. So it's mostly just visual settings. I wouldn't say too much. You're going to touch too much stuff in there. I see I just made the panel bigger. I'm trying to figure out where that order went. But there it goes. And see, the text became a little bit bigger. So now you can see, like, for instance, the target pips, target dollar amount would be $1.40. Open right now, it'd be in negative. Risk reward, stop in pips, and that's how much I would lose in dollars. But that's not including commissions. That's just including spread and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of things that you can set, and it's mostly like the text sizes and things that you'll see that's more covered in those settings for the actual EA. Well, I really love this EA. I hope that you've gained some value and understanding for it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. There's tons of YouTube videos that they have that will give more information about the manager, but I just wanted to recap some of the ways and the reasons why I use this, because I think it's a very cool visual tool. It's designed very well, and I think the developers did a great job of thinking a lot of things for this EA. So hope you enjoyed the video, and look forward to seeing you in the community.